Good evening, and thanks for returning to another episode of What's Your Story? Tonight we have the privilege of sitting down with our next door neighbor, Ryan Donnelly. Thank you so much for being on our set.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I see you walking up and down this street. You are always on a mission. You're always going somewhere. And I said, oh, he's just got such a pep in his step all the time. So, but we would really like to get to know you a little bit better. I see you here and there, and we wave, but we thought this was a perfect opportunity to hear your story.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for inviting me. Happy to be here.
So we usually try to ask our guests sort of like where you started, where you grew up, in school, things like that.
Yeah.
So
I grew up south of Boston in Hingham.
Okay.
And my story sort of kind of has a few different chapters, if you will. So from a very young age, I was a competitive figure skater, and I competed all the way up until I was 21 years old.
Wow.
So
when did you start?
I was about 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, did all the other things that other, kids do, tried baseball and Little League and all that sort of stuff. And one day, my mother's best friend, eldest daughter, was taking skating lessons at the rink, and we went to see her skate, and I was like, I want to do that. And my mother spoke with her coach at the time, and she agreed to, even though I'd never had any lessons of any kind, agreed to take me on. And within 3 months, I won my first little competition, and it just kind of took off from there. Yeah.
And that's not easy.
Yeah, it takes a village, like a lot of things. So, it's a very expensive sport, and luckily, extended family and friends kind of helped along the way. And ultimately, towards the latter half of my career, I had a lot of help, which was great. Yeah.
So your hours doing something like that, you're up at the crack of dawn or late at night?
I was so fortunate in so many ways with my career. But the town that I grew up in had its own skating rink, privately owned, and the owners would give me the ice for free if they didn't have it contracted.
Oh, wow.
And so in high school, I was able to sort of work with the school to arrange my schedule so that I could be at the rink when it wasn't booked. And so I would get in before the hockey teams and skate, and then while they practiced, I would do my homework and then skate again. But I had it pretty easy for the most part.
Oh, that's so great. I was going to say, how did you balance that with homework? But you made it happen.
We did, yeah.
So, and then college?
Yep. So again, my whole focus up until the time I was 21 was this amateur career, and so my world was surrounded by my, personal trainers, massage therapists, everyone in sort of that allied health profession.
Yeah.
So I started college on a physical therapy track.
Okay.
And ended up finishing a 4-year degree in exercise science, and my first job out of college was running a fitness facility in Boston for the Boston Public Health Commission.
Oh, okay.
And it was very rewarding. Got involved with the community. We started a lot of really productive programming. We started a kind of a prenatal yoga program with the Healthy Baby, Healthy Child program in the city, and different things like that. But we started a health fair, all these things. But I missed skating was that creative outlet for me, and I missed that. And so my mother, growing up, worked at a paint and wallpaper store doing color consultations for people. And my best friend is a successful interior designer and was in the process of moving to New York, and I was helping him manage some of his design projects while working at the gym. And he sent me a newspaper clipping with a job that was being offered in the city for a company called Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams, which is, at the time it was just Mitchell Gold. And that sort of started everything off for me.
So, and now you have your own business.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've seen your sign here in town. Where else do you do you do work?
Yeah. It's so I'm about 3.5 years in, and again, very, very fortunate. So right now, I have projects in and around the Boston area, a project in Florida, and a couple of projects in southern Maine. So
Yeah. How do people connect with you? Besides word of mouth,
Yeah.
that'd probably be the biggest, right?
yeah, honestly, it's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
A small business, so I have some part-time help with bookkeeping, and I have a CAD drafts person that I work with.
Okay.
But mostly it's me. So
Wow.
I again, very fortunate to be able to be very selective with the work that I take, and
Yeah.
I really prefer to have my clients be a personal connection, whether it's another client, someone that I've worked with, a friend or family member.
Yeah.
It's such an intimate experience
Yeah.
designing a private
Yeah.
home for
Yeah.
someone, and there's a lot of trust that goes into that. So it helps when there's that connection already established, for sure.
Do you find, especially like during the pandemic, projects were changed a little bit because a lot more people were working from home?
Yes.
Was there like a home office? Was there a focus on that sort of thing, or?
Yes, I think there was many. COVID changed life for everyone.
Yeah.
I think our industry was very much impacted with supply chain, like a lot of other industries.
Yeah.
But I think it shifted a lot of people's focuses. So, people who may not have put as much effort or focus on their home started to change their thinking because they were spending so much time there,
Right,
not traveling,
right.
not working in an office, working from home. So yeah, we did do a couple of home office projects during COVID, which was fun.
Yeah.
But I think it was really about, really focusing on, people's private spaces and,
Yeah.
and making those more functional, comfortable, enjoyable, because we
Yeah.
were all sort of stuck there. Right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So can you take us through? You meet with a potential client, and then what's the process of that?
Yeah. So much of it just happens through dialogue. Most of my clients have an initial, scope of project. So they might be either it's a new construction project, it might be a home renovation, it might just be redoing a particular room in their home. So we really kind of start with what their goals are,
Yeah.
and then sort of talking that through, and then finding out, ultimately what their budget is. And
Yeah.
it's so hard to have those initial
Right.
financial conversations,
That's
but
the tough part.
it's critical
Yeah.
ultimately, because I think any successful relationship, there has to be that transparency from the get-go,
Right.
and it's my job to be able to make the best use of my clients' investment and funds,
Yeah.
and guide
Bring them back to reality.
Yeah, a little bit, but also to say, well, okay, if these are your goals and this is what you hope to invest, I suggest that we focus here first, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Costs have gone crazy
Yeah.
with costs of construction materials, and freight costs are through the roof.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's definitely been some of those more harder conversations, just
Right.
to make sure that we're guiding people in the right direction.
And if you ask people, could you wait a couple of years? And most people don't want to. They're ready to, right? They're ready to
Yeah.
go for it. So
Yeah, I think we all want sort of instant gratification.
yeah, yeah,
But things do take time, and I think that sometimes time is in our favor, because it's a process,
Yeah.
and so one thing sort of impacts the next. And so if we're going through a home renovation and we end up finding this incredible set of antique doors, those antique doors might sort of start taking the design down a different path,
yeah.
or we end up finding an amazing painting or
Yeah.
rug that starts to sort of dictate the design.
Yeah.
So, I like the process to be fluid. My focus with all of my clients and projects is for the spaces to be a reflection of my client's personality and way of living, and
Yeah.
not just Ryan Donnelly design
Yeah.
space, but really a true reflection of them. So it's a process.
yeah. I was recently in one of your Ryan Donnelly designed bathroom, a friend of mine who lives up the street.
Yeah.
And I said, can I just come live in your bathroom? Because it was like such an oasis, what you created. I mean, that was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And just some of the other work that I've seen that you do, it's just, you really have a special, it's just, it's amazing, your special touch.
Thank you so much.
How do you, so you see things, like you were saying, you see a painting or you see something. Are you out and about looking all the time? Does it ever shut off for you, or?
It doesn't, prior to having my own business, I was sort of involved in the industry in so many different ways, from, working on the sales side of the industry, working on the manufacturing side, and then working for other design firms. So I sort of feel like I have a unique perspective, but also having worked for showrooms that represent collections from all over the world, I have that curiosity and interest. And so, yeah, and the internet and Instagram are always, fueling and inspiring ideas and things for clients. So yeah, it never stops.
Yeah, I would think, and especially, when you're traveling, you probably see something, you might see something in a different country that you say, gee, this is something we really want to, sort of adopt over here.
Yeah.
Even mailboxes, or just different things that you see somewhere that are very unique.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's so much fun. And so you have time here and you have time in Boston.
We do, yeah. And the time here increased during COVID, for sure. My husband Michael, prior to COVID, traveled nonstop for work, and that obviously stopped. And so he had the luxury of working from home, and so we decided to sort of spend most of our time up here in Maine during COVID. So we've definitely now been spending more time back in Boston. I have work in and around the city, and Michael now goes into the office a couple days a week. But so we're sort of splitting our time, but we love it up here.
Yeah, and it's for you. I mean, you don't have to get on a plane.
Yeah.
You just get in the car with the dog.
That's right. Yeah, 90 minutes door to door. It's so easy, and again, feel truly blessed to have both spaces, and really both, we feel such a strong sense of community. The South End in Boston is incredible. Have so many friends there. Michael and I met in the South End, over 22 years ago, and here we were so surprised by the welcoming community and from our neighbors, we found this great property that could be, potentially a rental or a place that we would just use a couple times a year, and it's really become home, and it's a very, very special place for sure.
You mentioned Michael. How did you guys meet?
So we were babies.
If you don't mind us asking.
No, we were babies. We met in Boston. We were at sort of a restaurant / nightclub, 22 years old, and it was,
love at first sight.
It was, and I can't believe it's been that long.
Wow,
but,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is so great.
Yeah.
So, do you have any projects that you're working on now that you're really excited about that you could talk to us about?
Of course, yeah. There's a few. So, as you know, I'm finishing up a large project, another neighbor of ours, which has been so rewarding and exciting.
And Michael keeps bragging about, you have to go see this. You have to go see this. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's again, feel so fortunate to have the opportunity to work with those clients on that property. They really heavily invested in the restoration of the original house, which most people don't do anymore.
Right.
And painstakingly, restoring old doors, and the homeowners actually took every door hinge and every doorknob and hand patinaed everything and restored it all. I mean, just the levels are truly unbelievable. Unfortunately, we were unable to save the original cow barn at the back of the property, but all of the original materials were salvaged. So the original granite foundation, the original barnwood, which is all being used back in the property.
That is so great.
Yeah, so that was really fun to be able to sort of put the puzzle back together and get involved in such a creative way to make this new structure feel very much connected to the original and feel like it's always been there.
Right.
So that's been really rewarding.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that is so great.
Yeah, and we're just starting another project right up the street as well, another neighbor. And this one is more of a new construction / renovation. But very exciting as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is the chain of getting supplies getting better?
It is getting better. Yeah, I think from a construction standpoint, lumber has gone down.
Yeah.
But certain things are still very long lead times. Windows are still really hard. We've already ordered the refrigerator because that's 9 months to 12 months to get your fridge. It's crazy. But I'm starting to see improvements with some of the custom furniture that upholsterers and woodworkers that I work with. That started to improve. But certain things you just can't predict. I had ordered a pair of chests for a client south of Boston almost a year ago. They finally arrived on a container into Los Angeles, and we're stuck at customs for almost 3 months.
I can't believe that. And that I remember looking at the picture of, remember in the canal when all of those, like one guy made a wrong turn and all the, like even stuff like that, it's like, come on.
I know,
but
and I think so many industries are still really struggling with staffing shortages. And there's just not enough people to receive these container ships and then go through and assess the containers or whatever they need to do. It's just there's staffing shortages still.
Right,
so.
and then if you have damage,
that's right,
or anything like that, which can happen very easily, then that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
So when you're not working, what do you like to do?
When am I not working?
Do you still skate?
I don't. It was it's hard to explain. I feel like for me, making the decision to leave the sport was a difficult one. And I feel like because I had such unbelievable support up until the time that I sort of made the decision to leave, it was, I felt a lot of sort of guilt and responsibility for letting those people down. And so I feel like I just needed, for my own ways, to sort of just shift gears completely and sort of look forward.
I can see that.
So every once in a while I'll get back on the skates. When my siblings had kids, we would, lace up the skates and get on the frog pond in Boston, or that sort of thing. But I've never really gone back other than that.
Yeah. So what do you like to do?
What do we like to do? So we love to eat.
Yeah.
We love, Michael's an excellent cook, so we love shopping and researching recipes, but we love to explore new places in Biddeford, Portland, Boston, Cambridge. Friends of ours just bought a place outside of the city in Watertown, which has a ton of interesting restaurant options there. So it's just fun to try new things always. So,
that's so great. Do you have a favorite style of, or just whatever you're in the mood for?
Yeah, I don't. We love everything. It's hard to say. We most recently were away in Ireland, and Irish aren't necessarily known for their cuisine, but we had incredible meals, and one of our favorite was a small little restaurant in Galway called Ardbia, and the menu really focused on vegan and vegetarian options, but all locally sourced produce, and it was outstanding.
Oh, wow.
And just intimate, and beeswax candles on every table, and just so nice.
Oh,
so
how neat.
Yeah.
So you have travel plans coming up anywhere fun?
We do. So we are going to.
I lived through your trips, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, so Michael made President's Club for his company, and that trip is in Barcelona coming up in April. So looking forward to it'll be our first time. We visited the islands off the coast of Spain, but we've never been to the mainland. So looking forward to that.
That's going to be fun. What other places have you been? You've been to.
So we were in Portugal this past summer, which was amazing.
Yeah.
We spent most of our time in and around Lisbon, and then went up to Porto for a couple of days, which was beautiful. Yeah, so we've been fortunate to travel quite a bit.
This is going to be pretty similar to Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The food in Portugal was some of the best that we've ever had. And I feel like culturally, again, almost like the Irish, there's such a heavy focus on hospitality.
Yeah.
So friendly, so appreciative for you kind of being there in their country, you know, eating at their restaurants, staying at their hotels.
That's
just
nice.
Yeah, so nice.
And a lot of the, what I found when I went to Spain a couple of years ago, everything is like grown right there, brought to the place very locally, created, and then so it's like what a concept, but it just seems like that's what a lot of these other places do.
100%, and everything is so fresh, no preservatives, so you feel the difference. You really do. You know, and so we would use that excuse to just eat because we're like, you don't feel it as much, you know.
So do you bike? Do you hike?
So we get out and Michael's a cyclist. I'm you know, the tourists around here on cell phones and stuff on the road bike, you know, freaks me out a little bit. Honestly. But so we get out and we hike, we walk. And you know, both of us were kind of going to the gym and stuff pre-COVID, but we haven't really made our way back yet. So we're getting out and walking with the dog as much as possible, and you know.
Well, I think you're not alone. I think there's a lot of people that are still trying to figure out to get back into whatever that routine was and is, and you know, or maybe they found something different.
That's right.
So that they're doing so.
That's right.
Well, you're it continues to amaze me what you're working on, but I've seen some of your work, and it is just incredible. So I hope everything continues to go well with your business. And next time we sit down and talk with you, you'll probably have a team of 10 working under you.
I hope to stay small. Honestly, I think. I think one of the things that I enjoy most about what I do is that sort of interpersonal relationship with my clients. And having worked for larger firms, I think that sometimes can be impacted when you take on too much work at once or have too many people involved. You're sort of not as involved in those small decisions which have such a dramatic impact on the project. And I want my clients to always feel like I'm available to them and I can be reached. And
that's really important.
Yeah.
You don't want the sauce to get too thin.
That's right. Yeah. So, you know, again, the goal is to stay, you know, busy enough that I can, again, be selective and take on the right projects for me and my client and make sure that I can offer the best service and that I'm available to them throughout the process from start to finish. So.
Well, we wish you all the best with that.
Thank you.
When we get ready to wrap up, we have a little rapid fire one-word answer round, if you will.
Sure.
So we would like to know your favorite color.
Favorite color, blue.
Blue. Any shade of blue or being
all
an
shades.
Interior designer? Okay. I love that. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh boy. I would say mocha chip.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh my gosh. Ooh, rapid fires. I'm failing at the rapid fire.
It's okay.
Gosh, favorite movie. There's so many.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
I would agree.
I will
That's
say
a tough
that
one.
I just watched The Policeman.
Oh, okay.
And that was excellent.
Yeah.
Really well done. So I would say
Okay,
yeah.
I'll have to try. I saw it
It
advertised,
was
so I'm
excellent,
going to go
yeah.
check that one out.
Yeah.
Favorite book?
Favorite book. So one of the books that I go back to a lot is The Private House by Rose Tarlow.
Okay.
And it's a different sort of design book because it's really mostly text and talking about kind of her influences and her experience and all of that. And it's an incredible guide for me to sort of stay focused on what's
Okay.
important with a
Yeah.
project.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
great.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite painting?
Favorite painting? These are good questions. Boy, a favorite painting. I think one of the most emotional experiences that I had with art was being in Amsterdam and experiencing the and now my brain is escaping me, but
That's okay.
you know, just being in that particular museum and focused around all of that art was
Yeah.
pretty moving, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to the Vincent van Gogh at the SOPO? Is it SOPO?
So it's the Van Gogh Museum that I was referring
Oh,
to
okay.
in Amsterdam, and again.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yes, we did go to.
I kind of had a feeling, but no,
yes,
I didn't. I'm just kidding.
We did visit that exhibit when it was in Boston,
Yeah.
and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, I think it had the potential to be really interesting and remarkable, but seeing the real work
Yeah,
itself
yeah.
is
Yeah, it
hard
was
to beat.
definitely different. I mean, it
Yeah.
was kind of interesting the way that it was set up.
Yeah,
And I think maybe going a couple of times
right.
to appreciate it. The
Right.
first time, you know, going through I wasn't really sure what to expect.
Yes.
But it was almost like too much.
Yeah,
And
I mean, right.
yeah.
I think again, such an incredible story, and you know, to sort of get into the artist's sort of head a little bit
Yeah.
was definitely an experience. But for me, I felt I didn't have that same
Yeah.
connection to that
Yeah.
installation that I had hoped to.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
yeah.
It was fun, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely not. I don't know. I was expecting something different, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
as are we. Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant?
You mentioned one while we were talking.
Yeah, so Michael and I got married at Mistral in Boston, and we go back there.
Oh, we get a thumbs up from our producer.
We go back there frequently. So I would say for sure.
Where is that located?
It's in the South End in Boston.
Okay.
And they have a really special small private dining room that we had our reception in, and we just had 70 people, which packed the place.
Yeah.
But
How
yeah, a lot of
nice.
special memories there. Celebrated my 30th birthday there, and
Cool.
yeah.
That is so cool. And that was just like last year, right?
Last week, yeah.
Last
yeah.
week. Okay. Probably was.
No, I wish.
And if somebody were coming to Kennebunkport and they saw you, is there something that you would recommend to people, visitors that were, because sometimes if you have house guests, like what would you tell them to do if they
Yeah.
were when they're here?
It's such a great question. There is a lot to do and see in and around Kennebunkport. So first and foremost, you have to drive, Ocean Avenue and do that.
Yeah.
But our regular kind of day trip guide in and around is driving Ocean Avenue, driving into Cape Porpoise, visiting our friends at Farm and Table, which is our favorite store in town. And then driving along Goose Rocks Beach, which is one of our favorite beaches
yeah.
ever.
It is one of the best.
And seeing that, and then kind of maneuvering your way back into town and hitting all the amazing little stores and shops in Times Square. And then heading back out, driving along kind of Gooch's and heading back out over to Route 1. And I love sending people to Corey Daniels Art Gallery.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
such a unique, special place.
Yeah, yeah.
and grabbing lunch over at A's Cafe, and kind of filling the day. And
Yeah.
I think also we have so many incredible antiques stores in town. So
That's kind of fun.
If people are into that, sending them to Antiques USA or my friends at Americana Workshop or places like that. So yeah.
Well, that fills a day and then
It
some.
does, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever taken the trolley?
I have not.
Because it sounded like you just did their route, but
Yeah.
I would love to hop on that one day. And I think, we did a library event on one of the trolleys, and we got a little bit of history, but I think that's kind of a fun, a fun thing to do. And
I agree.
but you can be, somebody's tour guide that way.
Well, it's there is a lot of history in and around this area. And lots of, points of interest with the different homes and, in some of the buildings that are no longer along Ocean Ave with fires and things.
Yeah, that's true.
We're actually, my friends and clients next door purchased a collection of old Kennebunkport postcards.
Oh, wow.
That have images of some of the old kind of hotels and buildings and churches in town that are no longer, and we're currently working on a framing project for that right now to frame those up and put them down a hallway. But
that is so cool.
Yeah.
When you have a historic project that you're working on, do you, Ryan Donnelly, go and do your own research on, get the skinny on that, get on that house?
Yeah, again,
I think that would kind of get your...
It does. This project was very much driven in that regard by my clients.
Okay.
Which was wonderful.
Yeah.
Took a very strong interest in that, what the house once was, and learning about the house through the process. So during the renovation process, we found signatures from carpenters that were working on the house in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And so by then you then learn about that individual and when they worked and their type of work, and so that then informs other decisions and selections. And so
wow, that is just, you must really, from the beginning of the day, I can tell by the way you walk up and down the street, you're just, I don't know, there's just something about your excitement.
Yeah.
You're on a mission to go, you're probably going to meet somebody to talk about something, but you can really tell that you're, excited about it.
I feel like I've said this a lot, but so fortunate to be able to do what I love to do. Yeah. It doesn't feel like work. Oh. I'm just so
that's the key.
Privileged to be involved in this creative process with people investing in their private, intimate spaces. It really is a joy. Yeah. And like any job, there's challenges, of course, but it's I feel very, very, very fortunate to do what I do. So.
Yeah. Wow, you're very, very good at it.
Thank you.
So again, I want to go just stay in the bathroom that I saw.
Me too. I'll join you there.
Such a beautiful, oh my God, such a beautiful space.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for being on our set tonight. Also for being our neighbor. Yes. We love that.
Yes, and we love being your neighbor.
We have just so loved watching you create over there and the changes that you have made. It's such a beautiful property.
Thank you.
So
thank you so much.
Labor of love. Probably
is. Yeah, we pinch ourselves that we have that little piece of Kennebunkport, and just so fortunate to have amazing neighbors like you, and it really is a wonderful community, and for us to be able to drive down our street, pull in our driveway, and feel like we're in this private little sanctuary at home. It's a special spot. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you. You
so,
too.
Knock on wood. And thank you all for joining us again tonight for another episode of What's Your Story? And we hope to see you back here next time.